This video on fractions is about finding a fraction of a value. We're going to be using multiplication in these questions. And a lot of the time when you see the word of in a question, where you're asked to find a part of something or a fraction of something, this word can indicate that we need to use multiplication. So here's an example for us to work on. Find 2/5 of 30. So the first thing that we want to do is write down a calculation for this question. So I'm going to start by writing down the value that I'm dealing with, 30. And then I'm going to multiply it by the fraction of that number that I want. So 30 times 2/5. I can calculate this if I like as 30 multiplied by 2 divided by 5, because when I'm multiplying by a fraction, what I'm really doing is I'm multiplying by the numerator and dividing by the denominator. So this is one way to get the answer correctly. But I'm actually going to take a slightly different approach, and I'm going to write my calculation as 30/1 times 2/5. So I've just changed that 30 into a fraction by putting it over 1, and I can do that with any whole number. To get my solution, I'll just multiply the tops together and then multiply the bottoms together. The tops can multiply to give me 60. The bottoms can multiply to give me 5. And now I can work out my final answer by writing 60/5 in its lowest terms. And in this case, really, it just means working out 60 divided by 5, which gives me 12. In this example, I left my cancelling until the end, but I can do my cancelling earlier in the question if I like. So let's try this again, but cancelling to start with. Because I'm multiplying these two numbers together, I can cancel any number in either of the numerators with any number in either of the denominators. So if I have a look here, I can see a match between 30 and 5. Now 5 will go into 30 and 5 will go into 5. 5 goes into 30 6 times and 5 goes into 5 once. You can see now that I only have ones left on the bottom, so there's nothing else that I really have that I can divide into numerators and denominators. So I'm finished with my cancelling, and now I can just multiply. And I've got 6 by 2 on the top, which gives me 12. And on the bottom, I've got 1 by 1, giving me 1, and 12/1 is just the same thing as 12. Both of these ways get the same result. The second way can be useful if the numbers are big, because cancelling down means that your multiplication and division won't be with numbers that are too large to cope with. So it's a good idea to kind of bear that in mind. Can I cancel to begin with if there's multiplication between the two numbers, just to make things a little bit easier for me as I work on through the question. You're free to do it either way though. Let's look at a second example. This time I want to find 6/7 of 350. The first thing that I have to do is I have to make my calculation. I'll start by writing down the 350, the value that I want to find the fraction of, and then I'll times it by the fraction that I want to find. I'm going to go about my calculation using this second method here, but you're free to use this method here if you prefer. You should get the same answer at the end. I like the second method because it'll let me cancel down and make my numbers more manageable at this stage. I don't like the idea of multiplying 350 by 6 and then having to divide it by 7. Okay, so let's have a look at what I've got. Well, in my numerator, I've got 350, and in my denominator, I've got 7. And 7 will actually go into both of those, so I can do a bit of cancelling at this stage. 7 goes into 350, 50 times, and 7 goes into 7 once. And now I'll just multiply top by top and bottom by bottom. And 50 by 6 is going to give me 300, and on the bottom 1 by 1 will give me 1, and 300/1 is just 300. Okay, here's a question for you now. So I want you to find 3/8 of 168. Make sure that you write down your calculation first of all, then show your workings and show your answer nice and clearly at the end. And pause the video here while you do that, and then in a moment play and see if you got it correct. Okay, so I'm writing down 168/1 times 3/8, and I'm going to see if I can do any cancelling. Well, 8 will go into 168 21 times, and 8 will go into 8 once. And now I just need to multiply to get the answer. And I get 63/1, or just 63. Okay, here's the second question for you. Find 7/9 of 171. And pause the video here, do this yourself, and then play and check if you're correct. So my calculation looks like this. And then I can see that 9 will go into 9. And will it go into 171? Let's check. Yeah, it goes in 19 times. And now I just need to multiply to get my solution. So I get 133 over 1, which I can just write as 133.